Whoo, what's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father. At Amazon, Kindle, and CreateSpace. A link will be in the description box below, as usual. This one is entitled America Isn't About Diversity. You know, I know people think, America is supposed is land of the free, home of the brave, and they have this ideology and this fantasy in their mind about what America is supposed to be, because America put down what it was supposed to be, right? But understand that, when you look at it in reality, that was just what they wrote on paper, man. It's a lie. Like, to think that this country really is about diversity, where do you see diversity at? You have, this is a country where you have to fight to put diversity in all of the institutions in this country, when the country was supposed to be built on bring me your sick, bring me your poor, bring me this, bring me that. But what they meant to say by that is bring me your sick and poor white people, bring me your white people. They don't want everybody else. You get what I'm saying? There was no, from the inception of this country, when we talk about the Native Americans, quote unquote, the Native Americans, right? The Indians, right? You notice they're not integrated into the quote unquote American society. They're really outcasted, exiled. And you can say, oh, well, they did that. Look at the history of it. This country did that to them, and they just said, you know what, I don't want to be around y'all neither. So do you see Native Americans incorporated into American society, into the political system, into the financial system, into the educational system? No, you don't. You don't whatsoever. Closest thing you got is the Jim Thorpe Award. That's the Jim Thorpe Award, and 9 Native American people being and looked at as logos and mascots. I mean, and Native American people looked at as logos and the mascots being 9 Native American people. That's it. When you have my people, and I'm not gonna front. Some of us were already here, and some of us are native to this country, whether you like to admit that or not. But the whole writing of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all of the laws of the land, and even the national anthem, that wasn't we weren't included in any of that. So now, hundreds of years later, are we incorporated into the quote unquote American dream? Are we incorporated into the financial systems and the educational system and the political system and the establishment? Just no. You gotta fight for all of that, and everybody would say, well, everybody has to fight. No, doesn't look like everybody has to fight, yo. It doesn't. Some people, inherit things by family. Some people inherit things by race, but no, nobody's incorporated into being American, and that's what integration was actually about with the civil rights movement, being integrated into the American society, and obviously that became a problem. People have a problem with affirmative action. People have a problem with housing discrimination. People have a problem with reparations. People have a problem with giving the families of certain businesses that are big businesses in America, who were actually created on the ideas of black people, to give those families actually a piece of the companies that their actual family members actually built, but basically didn't get credit for because of America's lack of diversity, i.e. racism and suppression and oppression, whatever you want to call it. So America isn't about diversity. when you look at the Hispanic community, you know, is it about diversity? No. People don't. Basically, the way I look at it, they looked at the Hispanic community as the new cheap slave labor. First, it was the Native Americans, then it was blacks, then it was inmates, prisoners, and when that died down, they got quote unquote Mexicans, right? I take that back. Take that back. Take that back. Because there were poor whites, children, women, Asians, and now Mexicans. Prison. I said the prisons part already, but now that. So now you got that thing where, do you see Hispanics really integrated into the culture? No. Like, you see a lot of people, let's see how I can say this, in lack of another term, cooning for approval to get invited into the system that are non-white. That's the only way you're going to integrate into American society. So do you see Hispanics integrated in diverse in society in all the political, the financial, the business, the educational systems? No. You have to have, and what I mean by diversity is, and the same thing goes for Asians, the same thing goes for midgets. Hell, anybody who's not considered the norm. And in America, the norm is considered Anglo-Saxon, right? Or somebody under the umbrella of being Anglo-Saxon, because they have their own groups. But which basically means white at this particular point, under the umbrella of white, Anglo-Saxon, and then different factions of white. But when it comes down to it, everybody is not getting represented fairly, equally. When you look at the wealth of this country, it's not diverse. When you look at the political system in this country, it's not diverse. When you look at how education is ran, it's not diverse. It's not done by population. It's not done by business, by the ability to create. Matter of fact, business contracts are not done by diversity, because part of what I'm talking about with diversity is the ability that everybody can pull themselves up by their bootstraps and compete. And America is set up in a way where the competition is rigged. Capitalism, I spoke about this before, is rigged to a degree where, you're going to get people who slip through the cracks. You're going to get some anomalies that blow up. But, when people think about it, they say, oh, what about this one person? Well, here's the problem with that ideology. If you say, what about Michael Jordan? What about Oprah? What is the guy that owns the Jacksonville Jaguars? Like, what about the countless examples of Caucasians who have nowhere near the extraordinary success rate to be as successful as they are? What about those people? What about your president? And not your last president, the current president, and President Bush. They're not looked at for having a history of excellence. They looked at as having a history of nepotism. And I'm not talking about their policies and all that other stuff. I'm talking about, the society that they inherited. The society they inherited wasn't diverse in the first place. It was a consolidation of wealth, of power, of resources, of ability to create systems and business conglomerates and business models that were uninterrupted by the American society. And other people don't have that. People have to have enclaves, you know. And that's why I say America isn't diverse, because you got to look at this country. You know, the original Statue of Liberty isn't up in New York because America isn't about diversity. Um, the how can I say this? The original, not necessarily the Declaration of Independence, but the Bill of Rights, where they got the model for that, which was like an Indian treaty, is not referenced in American history because America isn't about diversity. Um, the real true breakdown of who deserves what in this country land wise isn't spread up into certain areas because it's not about diversity. Gentrification is not about diversity because it's about getting people out and moving certain people in. You know, a lot of times people think it's about money, and it really is about money, but only certain people can have money. Like the idea that, like, when I see my people, if we get in quote unquote trouble, the first thing they say is take their money. I'm waiting on people to say take Harvey Weinstein's money. I'm waiting on people to say to take these other executives that are coming out now that, you know, take Bill O'Reilly's money, take Sean Hannity's money, take Rush Limbaugh's money. See, that doesn't happen because there's not a diversity in consequence either. It's not like, you know, just because the laws are set on a piece of paper, they're not executed in an equal manner. You know, they say, you know, the punishment has to fit the crime, but that's not. But that doesn't go across the board for everybody. People have harsher sentences than others and harsher consequences than others. So America really isn't about diversity because we don't even learn each other's culture to interact with each other properly. We consider mainstream America. And when you're diverse, you're able to go from into one area to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And be just as able to be fluid in other cultures, but be a master of your own. But this is not what this country does at all, and never has. And you know, that's why, in my opinion, this country isn't diverse. It's just a bunch of different people. It's not a melting pot. It's more like, you know, when you buy your Thanksgiving, you make your Thanksgiving plate and you have everything separate. You know, one port you want, you know, your turkey is all over here, your dressing is all over here, blah blah. This country ain't really mashed together. It's just very small sections, and you don't want these sections to interact with each other. So if you don't want these sections to interact with each other, you don't want these things to be diverse because you don't want people to compete. And a lot of people have these psychological issues where they interact with other people and other cultures, and they realize if life was actually a fair competition, or if America was actually a fair competition, you would lose to certain people, and you know it. So what you do is you rig the game so you don't have to deal with these people on an even playing field. That's just my opinion. Some people may disagree. Some people may agree. Yeah.